Hey friends, Paulie here. I wanted to go over NixOS and give a test to my streaming. This is the IMAX lame 1080p webcam, and I'm gonna fire up tonight my Proxmox server and show you guys a little bit of NixOS and why I think it's so cool. So let's go over here and start the Prox server. I think I have it set up so the res will go correct after it boots. Guess I could have got this a little better for us. There we go. All right. NixOS is a Linux-based operating system that is environment-based and has a weird way of package management. The package management is mainly done through a text file called configuration.nix and or a few other ways. But I also want to show you guys some neat shells, environments that you can set up. So let's open a terminal here. Let's make sure this is big enough for you guys to see. Is that all right? There we go. That's a little crazy. Okay, so we can go to Etsy. Oops. We can go to Etsy/NixOS. And let's do a nano configuration.nix. This is configuration.nix. This file allows you to set up the entire system from config and packages to using the grub bootloader to many other things. But let's go down, the GNOME desktop environment. So to install GNOME desktop environment, you just put services, X-server, display manager, GDM enabled true, desktop manager, GNOME enabled true, and that's how you set up the GNOME manager. The most simple thing though, the most simple part is down here. You have a package list. So down here, these are all your packages. I have nano, vim, wget, htop, git, fd, fzf, speed test, neofetch, blah blah blah. And you'll see down here I have VirtualBox and GitHub Qubit torrent and all my GNOME extensions. Now this is just a VM, so you don't really need all these GNOME extensions. But let's exit out of here for a minute, and I want to show you another quick thing. Let's say I wanted to use the text-based file browser NNN. Well, that's not installed, but I can quickly spawn a nix-shell, and you can do this for anything, any package. But I'm going to do a nix-shell -p NNN. Push enter. NixOS will install that package, and now if I type NNN, I have the NNN package. I can go through my files and use NNN or any other environment that I set up, Python or whatever. And if I type exit, NNN is gone. So you could do Python development. You could install some software just to see how it might work with your system. Throw big stuff to little stuff. You throw it in there and pop out. And that is nix-shell. Now let's edit that configuration file. Oops. I'm new to streaming. Let's go down here. This is a VM, so I had installed all these GNOME extensions. I'm going to keep one to dock. But for the rest of these, I don't really need them. So I'm going to turn these off. I'm just hashing them out in the configuration.nix file. And I hashed out all those GNOME extensions. Okay? I'm going to leave everything else. I'm going to Control X and save. I'm going to do sudo nixos rebuild, is it? Yeah, rebuild. Oh man, I forget the secondary thing. NixOS rebuild. Not spawn. Not share. What is it? There it is. Switch. Okay. So in the man, it's switch. switch, build and activate the new configuration and make it the boot default. That is, the configuration is added to the grub boot menu and is now the default menu entry. That being said, so let's run the NixOS rebuild switch. This is going to, in our circumstance, uninstall all those GNOME extensions. And when you reboot the system, if you just press enter or touch nothing, that'll be your new system. However, you can go in your grub, you can go into advanced and step right back. You can go to the next setup under this and boot right back in with all those GNOME extensions installed or any other software that you have. That being said, you can set these configuration.nix files up, and it's a text file. You can take that text file and your NixOS install and go to another computer in your organization or wherever and get the same exact environment. Boom, just from the text file. So you see that rebuilt. Now let's do a sudo reboot now. What was one of the extensions I uninstalled? And this is a VM, so I installed alt cover flow, or I uninstalled the cover alt tab cover flow. I uninstalled some other ones, but let's boot this in and I'll show you now. So let that go. Now I can boot it. You're having a hard time seeing this, but this is NixOS default. I'm going to go down to NixOS all configurations. These are just other configurations of that configuration.nix. I'm on configuration number 9. And you can step back if you ever break your system. Who cares? Reboot, sucker! Blah, blah, blah. So I'm gonna boot the newest one, the one we just built together. And that's gonna be without all of those GNOME extensions or whatever else we would have or could have, should have took out. Just like that. So easy. So anyway, I always play around with software, and in NixOS, I would actually just boot up a nix-shell or go into a nix-shell and spawn that software and see how it runs. Do I like it? Is it good for my system? Is it something that I want to install or make modifications to that configuration.nix? Furthermore, this is the most basic of terms. There's other things you can do. You can install packages through Nix environment per user. You can do NixOS flakes, which I don't know all about yet. But at any rate, now if I go to my extensions, I should have showed this before. But now all those extensions that I took out aren't there anymore. It's kind of hard to show you. I should have showed you this prior. But the only not stock one that I have installed now is dash to dock. I still think that's good for a VM. But all those other unstocked GNOME extensions are just gone. And it literally is just from configuration.nix. It's just a file. I mean, enable OpenSSH daemon. Services.openssh.enable equals true. Everything is set through a text file, and you can take this around your company, your home, you can enumerate, you can go to different hardware, and you get the same exact system just by installing and then running this configuration.nix. It's really powerful. It's a neat Linux distro, and I'm having a good time playing around with it. Thanks for testing with me tonight, guys. We're going to keep rocking and rolling. We're going to learn more and more and more of this. Yeah, well, we got to learn a lot more about this OBS stuff. But I thank y'all for hanging out with me. Have a great night. Rock and roll! La, 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 la.